Hello everybody! If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 567, The Interstellar Explorer. Upper beginner. In a distant future, where humanity adventured beyond the confines of Earth, a young explorer named Zara set out on a remarkable journey to the stars. Zara had always been fascinated by the mysteries of the universe, and she had dedicated her life to unlocking its secrets. One day, Zara was selected to pilot a state-of-the-art spacecraft on a mission to explore a newly discovered exoplanet. The journey would be long and perilous, but Zara was undaunted. She knew that this was her chance to make a profound contribution to the advancement of human knowledge. As the spacecraft soared through the vastness of space, Zara marveled at the breathtaking sights that unfolded before her. Galaxies danced in the distance, and nebulae painted the sky with a kaleidoscope of colors. Zara felt a sense of wonder and awe that she had never experienced before. After weeks of travel, the spacecraft finally reached the exoplanet. Zara carefully guided the craft down to the surface, landing in a lush alien landscape. As she stepped out of the spacecraft, Zara was immediately struck by the strangeness of her surroundings. The air was thick and humid, and the ground was covered in a strange, iridescent moss. Strange, bird-like creatures soared overhead, their cries echoing through the alien atmosphere. Zara's heart raced with excitement as she began to explore the planet, carefully documenting her findings. As she delved deeper into the planet's secrets, Zara made a startling discovery. Beneath the surface there were signs of an ancient, intelligent civilization. She uncovered intricate carvings, advanced technology, and even the remnants of what appeared to be a long-extinct species. Zara's excitement quickly turned to trepidation as she realized the implications of her discovery. This was a civilization that had long since vanished, leaving behind only the faint traces of its existence. Zara knew that she had a responsibility to carefully document and preserve this knowledge for the benefit of all humanity. With a renewed sense of purpose, Zara continued her exploration, carefully cataloguing every artifact in detail she encountered. As she worked, she couldn't help but wonder about the fate of the ancient civilization and what lessons it might hold for the future of humanity. As days turned into weeks, Zara's mission came to an end, and it was time for her to return to Earth. With a heavy heart, she boarded the spacecraft, knowing that she would be leaving behind a world that had captured her imagination. But Zara also knew that her journey was far from over. She had tasted the thrill of interstellar exploration, and she was determined to continue her quest to unlock the mysteries of the universe. As the spacecraft lifted off, Zara looked out the window, her eyes fixed on the distant stars, and she knew that her future lay among them. Vocabulary notes. Exoplanet. Definition: a planet that orbits a star other than the Sun. Example: Zara was selected to pilot a state-of-the-art spacecraft on a mission to explore a newly discovered exoplanet. Similar words: extrasolar planet, extragalactic planet, alien planet. Perilous. Definition: extremely dangerous or risky. Example: the journey would be long and perilous, but Zara was undaunted. Similar words: hazardous, precarious, treacherous, risky. Kaleidoscope. Definition: a constantly changing pattern of shapes and colors. Example: galaxies danced in the distance, and the nebula painted the sky with a kaleidoscope of colors. Similar words: spectrum, array, variety, assortment. Iridescent. Definition: displaying a range of bright colors that seem to change when viewed from different angles. Example: the ground was covered in a strange iridescent moss. Similar words: shimmering, shiny, lustrous, metallic. Trepidation, definition, a feeling of fear or anxiety about something that may happen. Example, Zara's excitement quickly turned to trepidation as she realized the implications of her discovery. Similar words, apprehension, unease, nervousness, uncertainty. Catalogue, definition, to make a systematic list of items, usually for the purpose of storage or reference. Example, Zara continued her exploration, carefully cataloguing every artifact in detail she encountered. Similar words, index, inventory, register, archive. Story written by Claude 3 Haiku, Anthropic AI. Image created by TechSmith's Assets for Camtasia AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you.
Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever read a story and just wondered, what makes this thing tick? Well, today, we're going to pop the hood on a simple little sci-fi tale called The Interstellar Explorer. We're going to see exactly how an author can build a whole universe, craft a hero, and take us on an epic journey, all with just a few carefully chosen words.
The whole thing kicks off with this single sentence. And boom, right there, we get everything we need to know about our hero, Zara. This isn't some 9-to-5 job for her, you know? It's her life's calling. This one sentence is basically the engine that's going to drive the whole story.
And that passion, of course, leads us straight into the first act of our story, Zara's big mission. She gets picked to fly this amazing, state-of-the-art ship. It's the call to adventure that really her entire life has been leading up to.
So where's she going? Not just to some random spot in space. She has a very specific, very intriguing destination, a brand new exoplanet. Now that right there immediately grounds the story in something that feels both futuristic and, kind of plausible. But what exactly is an exoplanet?
Well, using a real scientific term like exoplanet does a lot more than just sound cool. It adds this layer of authenticity to the whole thing. It takes a piece of jargon and turns it into a real, believable place for our adventure. So we're not just going to some made-up fantasy land, we're headed somewhere that could, theoretically, actually be out there.
And get this, with just two little words, long and perilous, the author cranks up the stakes. I mean, a story without any risk is just a travel blog, right? This phrase tells us straight up that Zara's success, and maybe even her survival, is absolutely not a sure thing.
Think about it. The author could have just said dangerous, but perilous. That feels different, doesn't it? It suggests not just risk, but hidden dangers, unknown threats lurking out there in the dark. That one word choice paints the entire journey with this deep, underlying tension. Okay, so let's jump into the second act and see how the author builds on this. After setting up the danger, the story pivots. It shifts focus to the journey itself and transforms all that peril into a feeling of just pure wonder.
I mean, come on, that's just poetry. The author isn't telling us space is pretty, they are showing us. See how the words work? Galaxies don't just sit there, they dance. Nebulae don't just exist, they paint the sky. These action words bring the entire cosmos to life, turning a static image into this breathtaking spectacle.
And here's where that word kaleidoscope becomes so powerful. It's the perfect metaphor, right? It captures that feeling of a vibrant, always shifting, beautiful pattern. It transforms the view out a window into something that feels alive.
And this is why it all matters. It's not just pretty scenery. It's a deeply transformative experience for our hero. The beauty on the outside is causing a massive shift on the inside. She's not just a scientist anymore. She's someone experiencing this raw, unfiltered awe.
Which brings us to our third act, arrival. After all that travel, the awe of the journey finally gives way to the absolute thrill of discovery, as Zara gets to set foot on the exoplanet. This is the moment we've all been waiting for.
Now look at how the author makes this world feel totally real. It's not some vague description, it's a punch list of sensory details. You can almost feel that thick, humid air. You can hear the weird cries of those bird-like things. This is how you build a world that your reader can step right into.
And tucked away in that description is another one of those perfect word choices: iridescent. The moss isn't just green, it's iridescent, which suggests something totally otherworldly, beautiful, with colors that shimmer and change. It makes something familiar, like moss, feel completely and utterly alien.
But just as we're getting used to this strange new world, bam! The story hits us with a major pivot. What started as exploring nature suddenly becomes an archaeological dig. This is the big turning point.
Because it turns out, she wasn't the first one there, not by a long shot. She finds these intricate carvings, leftover tech, and remnants of a species that's long gone. This completely changes her mission. She's not just an explorer anymore, she's now an archaeologist of the stars.
And this discovery, it marks a massive shift inside Zara. You can literally see her emotional state flip. All that initial excitement and wonder, it gets replaced by something much, much heavier: trepidation, and this profound sense of responsibility. You know, finding life was the dream, but finding a dead civilization, that's a burden.
The author's choice of the word trepidation here is just brilliant. This isn't just being scared of danger. It's a deep anxiety about what her discovery means. What happened to these people? Could that happen to us? All her personal excitement is suddenly crushed under the weight of cosmic history.
So what does she do with this heavy new reality? Well, that brings us to the final act, where Zara has to figure out how to carry this new responsibility and find a completely new purpose for herself.
See, instead of being paralyzed by that trepidation, she channels it. It doesn't stop her, it focuses her. She now understands that her mission isn't just to explore, it's to preserve the memory of this lost world.
And notice the specific action she takes. She's not just grabbing souvenirs or taking pictures, she's cataloging. That one word implies a scientific, systematic, and deeply respectful process. In this one action, she becomes a guardian of this civilization's legacy.
And here it is, the ultimate connection. This isn't just about some aliens who died a long time ago. Suddenly, it's about us. She's thinking about the future of humanity, about the lessons we could learn. She's gone from a planet explorer to a full-on philosopher of civilizations.
And so, as the story wraps up, we're left with a completely transformed Zara. Yeah, she comes back to Earth, but her spirit, her future, it's still out there in the cosmos. The official mission might be over, but her personal journey, her real quest for meaning, has only just begun. So, by being so intentional with its words and its structure, this simple story takes us on this incredibly profound journey. And it leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. What do you think? What kind of lessons could a lost world possibly hold for our own?